the chest and then pressing straight down. The reason I call it a press instead of a fly is because usually with a... But right now, I guess my main goals are to get really lean, fix a shoulder imbalance that I have that I've been kind of hard. It would be kind of hard to record during the event. Hello everybody at the gym today. Today my plan is to do some upper body bodybuilding kind of stuff, then move into some sled circuits, and then probably some Stairmaster cardio at the end. So it might be kind of long, but we'll see what happens. I usually start with a plan and then those plans somewhat change as the workout goes on. I keep looking at the TV that's above me because there's a hockey game going on, ice hockey, and it's between USA and Canada. And if you guys have been following world politics for a while, there's some amount of tension between the USA and Canada, and whatchamacallit, Canada lost their last international match against the US, and that was kind of a big deal. Canada loves its hockey, and yeah, it's just interesting to, there's a storyline associated with it. I'm not much of a hockey person. I don't really like watching or know much about the NHL or international hockey, but it's cool. Well, not cool. Since there is a storyline, it has my interest, and I'm keeping up with it. And currently, the USA is leading 2-1, and yeah, it was 1-1 not too long ago, and then the US scored. In any case, for the first set of exercises, going to do arms tricep. So I'll probably move into some chest back after, or maybe one more. Well, we'll talk about that later. So for tricep pushdowns, doing alternate single arm pushdowns. I like doing the pushdowns with single cables because in my mind, that way the amount of tension that's or the amount of resistance is even between the arms. I think with a two-handed pushdown, there's a higher likelihood that the stronger hand takes over, and so by doing the single arm version of things, I'm able to keep things more even. Going for about 12 to 15 of these. And really focusing on a full stretch and squeeze. After 15 of those, doing overhead tricep extensions facing away from the cable, hitting the triceps at a slightly different angle, which recruits different areas of the tricep. And by supersetting two tricep movements, you really get an amazing burn. Well, amazing is subjective. It's definitely painful, but a big burn and a good pump. Going for about 10 of these. And after 10, for the third exercise, doing alternate curls but with the kettlebell, using two 25-pound kettlebell. Hey. Good, how are you? Supersetting buys and tries, or any kind of like protagonist antagonist muscle group, gives a much bigger pump than just doing one or the other. So yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to just kind of keep going till it feels good. This was like my 5th set, and then on to the next thing. The score is now 2-2. So things are getting pretty exciting. In any case, for the next set of movements, doing alternate single arm lat pull downs on the same cable machine. So similar to before, I like doing one arm at a time with most movements, including the lat pull down whenever I do it, because that way I can make sure that the load or resistance is distributed evenly, and it feels like both arms are getting, or both sides are getting, an equal workout, as opposed to just one or the other. Going for about 10 to 12 of these. I believe that was 11. So after 11, going to step out and do alternate single arm rows.
You're on the very left, right? Yeah. And that car was on the very left. They were going like 120. Yeah. And they fucking zoomed right past. Like, holy shit.
I'm going for 10 each side of this.
Go on.
Then after that, doing 10 cable presses alternated. So just leaning forward and then going back till I feel it stretching the chest, and then pressing straight down. The reason I call it a press instead of a fly is because usually with a fly you have your arms outstretched really wide, and then you bring it together without really changing the bend in the arm. But in this case, the elbows bend and straighten out instead of staying in the same position the whole way through, which is what the case is for a fly, if that makes sense. So a fly would look something like this, but a press is more just this. Going for 10 to 12 of these. And then finishing off with 8 alternating kettlebell shoulder presses. Although this also hits a little bit of the upper chest. Going for 8 of these on each side. So yeah, doing this for 5 sets. This was my fourth. Then I'll probably move into one sled circuit, and or when I say sled circuit, there's going to be some sled involved, along with probably one or two other movements to make it a circuit. Then do the Stairmaster or some other kind of cardio, along with the kettlebell complex or something like that to finish off. But yeah, let's see what happens. So unfortunately, my microphone was on mute mode during this portion of the video, and yeah, I realized it much later. And I went on like this 20-minute rant, but I guess none of that was recorded. But some of the points that I remember making while I was doing this set was the fact that I was interested in the Canada USA hockey game because of the underlying story that was playing out more so than the fact that I liked hockey. And so it made me think about my YouTube channel with respect to that. And while there is a place for interesting / unique ways of working out, I think people would be more interested in watching the stuff that I put out if there was some sort of underlying story, and that would take the form of working towards something. So like signing up for some sort of event, like endurance race or a Spartan race or high rocks or some other kind of milestone, and documenting how I'm working towards it, if that makes sense. But anyway, all of that's kind of besides the point. So for the sled portion of things, what I did was 15 straight sets of reverse sled and sled push. So I did 3 plates on the sled, reverse and push. So like picked a weight that was heavy but not heavy enough to where I felt too taxed at the end of a set, and I was trying to take pretty low rest periods between sets to keep my heart rate going. And I supersetted that with kettlebell figure eights, kettlebell figure eight clean to press with the 35-pound kettlebell. Again, picking a weight that I could move freely with, but that wasn't heavy enough to make me feel too tired at the end of a set. That guy who's working out in the same area that I am, he's like super strong from a calisthenic perspective. Like I don't know, you guys probably noticed that he's attempting a planche and he's able to get it to some degree, and that's quite impressive. Someday I would like to achieve that as one of my goals, but right now I guess my main goals are to get really lean, fix a shoulder imbalance that I have that I've been working on for quite some time. I'm pretty mobile, but I want to get even more mobile. And yeah, with the figure 8 clean to shoulder presses, I was doing 5 reps on each side, and then immediately moving into the sled. I think for the first couple of sets in the video, I took slightly longer rest periods between sets, but as time went on, I reduced the rest periods. I did this for 15 sets. Again, this was more meant to be like resistance-based cardio than me trying to like use it from a strength perspective. And like doing stuff that's not heavy for you should not be discounted, in the sense that for example, like lifting is a skill. Every lift is a skill in and of itself. You're training your body to move a certain way. So for example, when you listen to powerlifters talk about their bench press or squat or deadlift, they're always constantly trying to tweak their form, figure out certain cues and tightnesses to maintain in order to lift the most amount of weight uh, possible. And I think a lot of that also comes with like just practicing the movement. Like if you keep trying to push the weight heavier, there's only so far you'll get. You need to make your body comfortable with handling a certain movement pattern. So for example, it's not very visually obvious how like the sled feels on my body, if that makes sense. So like you can't really notice too much difference between people's squat forms, but you'll often hear people say something like, "Oh, I know, like I started maybe tucking my elbows closer to my lats, or turning my wrists a certain way, and that made a world of difference in their lift." And for me personally, the way the sled feels on my legs from when I first started to now is a lot different. And well, not a lot different, it just feels a lot smoother. um, and I think that smoothness can be attributed to my body learning how to move the sled more efficiently as I kept spending more time doing the movement, if that makes sense. But yeah, that was I guess most of the points that I wanted to make while I was lifting. Um, yeah, and so I did 15 sets of this, and did the Stairmaster after. I think the score of the game on the TV was 2-2 at this point, and it had just gone to overtime, or overtime hadn't started yet. And due to lack of my hockey knowledge, I wasn't sure if hockey had a golden goal sort of situation where the first person to score in overtime wins, or it's still like who gets the most points at the end of regulation, kind of like basketball, or most points at the end of overtime, kind of like basketball. But yeah, on to the Stairmaster portion of things. Alright, so on the Stairmaster, like I thought I would be, Canada won the game. I think it's a golden goal kind of situation, because like they won as soon as they hit the, or got a, I don't know, is it called a goal? I think it's called a goal in hockey. Yeah, so as soon as they scored a goal in at the end of uh, or during overtime, they won. So, it'll be interesting to see how the media receives it over the next couple of days. And that being said, uh, I recorded a couple of sets, or actually 7 sets, of me doing the sled and the kettlebell complex. And now when I put my microphone on, I realized that it may not have been recording, so like the microphone might have been on mute. So hopefully it recorded, because I said a bunch of stuff that I thought was, a nice expression of my thoughts and internal working. However, if it was on mute, none of that got recorded. So let's hope it did. If not, oh well, it is what it is. But but in any case, whether I have to do a voiceover for the previous portion or not, at this point you're probably aware that one of my goals today was to do my usual kind of Stairmaster cardio, where I stay on for 2 minutes, get off, and then do a kettlebell complex. So for the kettlebell thing, I'm using a 30-pound kettlebell and doing inside rotation to outside rotation press. So inside rotation clean, so throwing the kettlebell towards my body, switching hands, and pressing externally or outside. I'm going for 5 times on each side. One of the things that I don't give my body enough credit for is, I would say, shoulder endurance. Because whenever I use a kettlebell, I'm almost always doing a clean and press or a snatch with all different kinds of weights at all different kinds of angles, and I do it nearly every day, and my shoulders seem to recover fine and be able to perform every day, which I think is an attribute that I don't quite give myself enough credit for or think much of, but it is quite something. There's definitely people who have way greater strength and endurance as far as shoulders are concerned, but it's just something that I'm thinking about at this current moment. So I'm doing 10 sets of this, and since I'm only doing 10 sets, I'm starting off at a much higher level. So I should essentially started off at level 4, and this is my 8th set, and I've kept that level constant. I think so this is set 8, so I'll be done at the 16-minute mark on this set, and I'll probably go faster, so level 5 for the next one. In a couple of videos ago, I had mentioned wanting to get into something like a Spartan race or a High Rocks race or something like that this year. And if I do something like that, it might be a good idea to document anything that I'm doing towards training for it, as well as the actual event itself. But it's kind of hard. It would be kind of hard to record during the event. I wonder if there are any sort of restrictions to doing that, and I would have to rent or buy a GoPro or something like that. So going a little faster now. So I'm at level 5. So what else is going on? I don't know. The weather's super cold, and the snow is still like very prevalent outside. I don't know if prevalent's the right word. Like, there's a lot of snow, and all of it hasn't melted yet. So it's still kind of annoying to get around, plus everything is super cold, yada yada yada. If you guys watched my outdoor workout from a couple of days ago, you probably noticed the big heap of snow that's all around, and yeah, that's just like that. It's pretty much that all across everywhere I go, like including outside the gym and stuff like that. And it's just, I don't know, it's not the worst, but it's definitely not fun. My cat usually likes being outside too, and so he's not able to do that. Plus, I think he might have either eaten something funny or whatever, and his stomach's a little upset. And you know, usually when you're in a bad mood, at least as a human being, you like to have some sort of fun, but now he can't have his fun either outside. So it's probably doubly depressing for him. And I like it when he's happy and not sad and sick. I like it when he's happy and healthy. Isn't that interesting? Happy and healthy start with the letter H, and sad and sick start with the letter S. Coincidence? Question mark. Alright, last set. So yeah, another good workout in the books almost. By the end of this, I would have probably... So I'm at... My watch says it's been 28 minutes and 30 seconds since I started cardio. So I'm averaging around 1 minute, I think, or maybe per set on the kettlebell, and 2 minutes on the Stairmaster. So it's coming to about a total of 30 minutes, though by the time I'm done, I'm pretty sure I'll be little over 30 minutes on this, and overall, including my lift earlier and the sled stuff that I was doing, my total workout time I think is about 3 hours, and my total calories burnt would have been like 1,100 to 200 range. So, speaking of my cat, I noticed, like I was saying, I think his stomach is upset. And when his stomach is upset, I think his cat instincts kind of kick in, where he tries to randomly ingest random stuff that he sees. So, like, he starts trying to rip apart cardboard, or finds like random stuff on the floor and puts it in his mouth. And so, in order to give him something to like chew on and swallow that's not like toxic, I bought some cat grass. I hope that was a good idea and doesn't necessarily make him worse, but he's a strong kitty. 10 years old now. And I've had him since he was a baby. And I love him a lot. Alright, that's it for the workout. I'm going to head to the sauna, do some abs and stuff. Yeah, this is probably it for the video. See you all tomorrow.